Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, so today is great for our program, Maritime Talk number 9, to have on a guest like Capt.Sarabjit Singh Butalia as our guest today. So let me introduce you first about his profile. He graduated master degree of science in maritime affairs, specialized in maritime education and training from WMU or World Maritime University. And he is director of maritime study department of our AMCOL. So welcome, Captain.
Welcome. How are you?
Yeah,
Good.
Thank you. So would you like to introduce yourself more a little bit?
Well, I think you have said about myself. I'm connected with the industry for over 3 decades, and been a captain for 10 years and been involved in education and training. That's all.
Yeah, so it's very great for us to have you as a guest of Maritime Talk today. So what the topic that we will talk about today, Captain? Yeah, we will talk about future shipping and challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, so today, Captain, we will talk about future shipping and challenges, and because we cannot neglect that we are now in the age of digital, right? And everything mostly run by technology. So you can see from our mobile phone, and the same as in our shipping industry. So what do you think about, how do you see shipping in year 2020?
Well, to start with, I would say that for young people, this is the best time to be born, because the technology or the information brought by technology is at your doorstep. And the same is happening in shipping. A lot of technological changes happening in the industry. We are thinking of going semi-automatic or fully automatic in shipping, and that's what is happening in the industry at the moment, so from the technological point of view. And the other challenge is, how does we as human keep up with that race, because technology can develop faster than we are able to develop to cope up with the technology.
Yeah, so it totally affects to human factors.
Yes.
Yeah, so I understand, and everybody understand that it's time of technology right now.
Yeah.
But for the human issue, it's important. So could you suggest how it affects to human resource in marine business?
See, the first thing is the human resource can't cope up with the technological developments, because the technology is advancing so fast. The second point is how the people are interfacing themselves with the technology, because how do you get used to the technology? If you see, we have the electronic charts today, there were paper charts. Everything is getting so much technological high tech that the human interface to technology is a huge challenge. And there is something called agronomics, that is a human machine interface. How do you do that when your technology is changing? Every ship has a different technology, so it's not like your car, you're driving the BMW, the controls are standards. We don't have that. So that brings in a huge challenge for human resources. And the second is, industry is multicultural. So communication can be a challenge, because we have so many different nationalities on board. So from that aspect, I think it is a challenge for us, and how to mold ourselves with the new technology. So that's the way I can look at it. And as at the IMO, which is the specialized agency in UN, at the moment we are undergoing a scoping exercise to see how regulations will interface with the new technology, and how we cope up with the training.
Okay, so let me conclude that, okay, the technology that can affect to human resource, so it's very challenging for human resource to upgrade ourselves to face and to cope with the high technology. Okay, and it's very important that you said cultural is one of challenges that human resource in shipping industry have to prepare themselves for this. Okay.
The other point I just want to add is there is a lot of information overload, like you have in your own industry, that Facebook. So we have so much information on the in our workplace, the workstation, that sometimes it is confusing and it is causing a lot of hazardous situation, accidents, etc.
Okay, and nowadays common for everything. I know that everybody to know about green something.
Yes.
And I heard that there's something about green topics in shipping industry also. So how's the future of shipping to go green in shipping industry? So
see, to start with, I would say shipping is a highly compliant industry. That means we are compliant. We comply with over 40 conventions, international conventions. So from a regulatory point of view, highly regulated. Now, as far as environmental condition or as far as green aspect goes, we are already into this to make the environment as how should I say, protect the environment. But we are also going in further to that, because if you see 80 to 90% of your trade is through ships, and if 50,000 plus ships are carrying over 10.6 billion tons of cargo, that means there is so much CO2 emission. So even if the ship, if you compare between rail, road and other transport, we are the least polluting in transportation means. But because the volume is so much that the CO2 emission which is taking place, we still need to reduce. And that is why the IMO, which is the specialized agency of UN, they have come up with a project called 2020, and they want to further reduce this emission by bringing in sulfur of 0.05%.
To reduce the emission.
So that is one aspect, and there are many other things we are doing to increase efficiency of machinery, so that there is less emissions in air, etc.
Wow, it's great to hear about this, because it's, as our human factor in this world, so it's very important for every business, every industry to be aware of this.
See, just to share with you, like Rotterdam, Port of Rotterdam, they have something called Green Awards. If any ship complies with the green parameters what they have set up, the port gives them an award and has certain port dues exemptions. So that is how the industry is working.
I used to hear about carbon emission in airplanes.
Yes, so it's the same aspect we are doing.
Okay, and there's one thing, Tapan, that I also heard about marine spatial planning. So I'm not sure about this. So could you explain me more what it's about and how it relates to environment impact?
See, if you see the structures which are coming around the country, whether it is Thailand or India, a lot of infrastructure development, wind farms, etc. are happening. Now, if the government or the authorities are not careful or sensitive, it can impact the whole marine environment, because if you put a lot of ports, infrastructure around the coastline, it will impact your water flow. It can reduce the ocean currents. And that is why under UNDP, which is the UN Environment Protecting Agency, they have come up that all countries must have a marine spatial planning. That means how do you keep or how do you maintain your ecosystem? And each country must have their plan, and this should be submitted to the UN stating that this is their plan for the environment or for the coastal region. Like India, we have a coastline of 7,000 kilometers. So you need to have a plan to see how we can protect it, so that if we put up certain infrastructure or port, it has a minimum impact over the environment. That is how it works.
So this about marine spatial planning. So it's a project of UNDP.
UNDP, where all member countries have to comply.
Yeah, it's very great for that. And one thing, Captain, that I think that now Thai people are familiar with 4.0, which is like a Thailand 4.0, and how it's about the shipping 4.0. So could you explain more, and also the role of IMO to cope with this?
Yeah, so see, the IMO is a very, I would say, proactive agency where we are continuously developing new regulations to maintain the developments which are happening in the industry. So IMO, as I said, they have come up with something called 2020 for reducing the sulfur content in the fuel oil. They are also looking into the role of technology with the industry, and I think this shipping 4.0, actually the slogan comes from the World Economic Forum, where they're saying the fourth revolution. And just to share with you one of the videos I saw on World Economic Forum, they said 40% of our competencies wherever you work will be redundant in next 10 years because of technology. And I think shipping will also be impacted by that. So that is how I look at the challenge. But I still see that we cannot eliminate the human factor.
Yeah.
You know, that is very important, I think. We can have all the technology, but we need human beings.
Yeah. So I totally agree with Captain, and it's now come to the importance of human development also.
Yes. Yeah. So we have to keep that pace. So your training schools have to cope up with all these new changes, you know.
Yeah. And the last question, Captain. So, what are the challenges in shipping industry that you would like to talk about besides, from technology or from environment issues, or what else?
Yes. In my mind, I have three things. One is because 30 to 40% of our operating budget is fuel prices, and the fuel prices change can impact the industry, and the fuel prices change is not only very much connected to supply and demand. There is so much of political issues. If Iran or US or China or some other countries have a problem. So you have seen from 2014 onward the fuel prices went down, but now you see the fuel prices are again going up. And this can impact the industry which has just come out of the recession. So that is one thing, the fuel prices. The second is the geopolitical tension. There is a author called Robert Kaplan who has written a book called The Monsoon, and he has written an article called The String of Pearls. Now, whoever controls the oceans today control the trade, and this is where the shipping comes, because you can have a small island in the middle of the ocean, but who controls that island becomes so strategically important. So that is where the geopolitical aspect of the shipping industry, or what we say, the freedom of the navigation. That means I can come around the Thailand coast, you cannot stop the ship, but if the countries start controlling this part, there will be tensions in the region. And the third, I think, I have not studied much, is what we called Chinese project of Belt Road Initiative. And I'm not sure how shipping will impact, because I need to study that, but they are building roads and the ports from China to Europe, and this will connect the whole thing, and this is how civilizations develop. This is how, if you see China, they are moving south from their own place. So they are going more into Central Asia, and they are building pipelines, having oil supplies from there, instead of only relying on the sea lane, because energy security is a big issue in the whole global trade. And China being, if you see, the world trade today is 10 billion tons, and out of that, 10% of that trade is from China. So it's a huge factor for them.
So it's very interesting issues that we must talk and discuss more about this. Maybe
Yes.
for next time, if
Yes.
you have available time for our maritime talk in the next session. So it's very interesting for our participants to join and see what is your thought about this.
Okay.
Yeah, and today we got many knowledge and sharpening up my brains a lot about shipping industry that we get about to update about technology effect to shipping industry and the preparedness of human resource to prepare ourselves with technology and also with the point of environment factors.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Captain, for
Thank you.
today's.
Thank you.
Okay.
สนับสนุนโดยสนับสนุนรายการได้ที่คุณโทนี่เบอร์โทรศัพท์ 082 711 3834